Let's talk about the Senior Bowl, y'all. Christopher Smith, Kenny McIntosh, Warren McClendon, the pod. What do we make of what the Dogs did in Mobile, Alabama?
I didn't watch a single snap.
It was not Saturday was not all too impressive. Warren McClendon didn't play.
How much does this game matter?
It doesn't. I mean, it's a great opportunity. I think it's a great opportunity for guys that didn't. I mean, I saw a tweet and I didn't think it was spot on, but I thought it was pretty good. Was the fact that it's the Senior Bowl. That means these guys did not come out in their first opportunity to come out into the NFL draft. And in some cases, they didn't come out in their second opportunity either. These guys have been around. They're not necessarily, in most cases, your first round surefire pick. So I think it's a good opportunity for those guys that have potential to be drafted, to be a day 2, day 3 type guy. And I think if you look at Georgia's representation there, that's exactly what that group is. It's a good opportunity for those kind of guys to interact with NFL scouts that they might not get, the opportunity to do at the combine or at a pro day where attention is on guys that are of higher caliber. That being said, I think the week of practice was good for these guys. Didn't keep up with Pod a ton. He made one, missed one in the game. McClendon practiced all week, did not play in the game.
Kenny dropped a pass, but
Kenny dropped a pass, but then got hurt and sat out the second half. Chris Smith finished with 4 tackles.
Yeah.
So
the game's not that important.
The game,
Isaiah Wynn proved that. I mean, he went and had a great week of practice, and then was like, "I'm out. I'm going to go get labrum surgery, guys." I mean, that's how that went. It was like, "All right, guys, see you. I did my part. I'm going to go have labrum surgery."
I think that's kind of what McClendon did, knowing that he was. I mean, there's a good chance that that's what he was doing, but having come off of that knee injury that he suffered in the. What was it, the SEC championship game? Yeah. Knee injury not all too long ago. In that car crash not all too long ago. I mean, it's a situation where he probably did something similar to that. And you're right. The game is not all that important. What's important is the week of practice and the interviews and such. And from everything I've heard from people that were down there, Georgia guys did great in that. But the game, like I said, not all too impressive. And it's really hard to get in a rhythm in those kind of games because you're splitting reps, every other drive or every other quarter or whatever. Chris started. I do know that he was the starting safety for his team. And clearly the Georgia player that played the most in that game because he was available for all 4 quarters.
But Jake, did you see this arc for Chris Smith? I mean, I think what we're talking about, like a 3rd round-ish pick at this point. I don't know that going back in it and from a recruiting standpoint that I thought that he was going to be like that highly drafted. I thought that he had the potential, but he seems like a pretty solid, consistent pick on a second day.
I thought when Chris Smith was getting recruited, I thought we were probably looking at a depth corner piece that maybe, kind of a Tyreek McGee, level player. But you heard it about him like early on. Like, man, this cat's one of the best tacklers on the team. We don't know if he can hold up physically. He had a lot of nicks and bruises, but it didn't take him long to move to safety. And he's done a really good job, man. I mean, he's a really good football player. I'm interested to see where he gets drafted because he's not very big. He's under 5'11". I don't know if he's going to run like Earl Thomas did. I doubt it. So that, if you're going to be small, you've got to cover a lot of ground. And but I do believe a team can get him and they can maybe even get a nickel corner out of it because he does have some corner skills. I just don't think he's going to run super great. If he can get anything under like a 4.55, is probably going to be real solid for him. And if he could somehow crack a 4.5, it would be incredible. Listen, Wes was at my house last year for the only time I've ever had Wes over. We're doing an oyster roast when we found out what George Pickens ran at the combine. They can shock us. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They can absolutely shock us. So, it's one of those things where Smith has an opportunity, and we'll see because the film's there, and he's a really good football player. A minute ago, while Palmer was saying something, and he was talking about the thing, he mentioned the wreck for Warren McClendon. I kind of started chuckling. If you're watching that, I was not laughing at that. I was laughing at this dude over here in the comments. We've now got somebody named Will Muschamp's reading glasses.
Oh yeah, reading glasses has been
first time I've ever seen
a mainstay of the comment section. I want to say.
Has he?
Yeah.
God, I love that because I do love those reading glasses. Those are watching Will Muschamp have them things on the tip of his nose and kind of hold the thing up. God, man, that's some of the funniest stuff ever.
No, I'm really happy for Chris Smith because I'll tell you this: going back even into high school, great kid, man, outstanding person. Just everything that you wanted out of a player. Played with William Poole. I think a lot of people probably forget that at Hateville Charter down there. Yeah, and it doesn't get more Atlanta than Hateville Charter, man. But I'm really happy to see that it's happening for him, and I hope that all the best things happen for him. Like you said, I thought he was a depth guy personally. I didn't know that he would ever ascend to the level and put this many starts under his belt, make as many impactful plays as he's made. A great rotational guy, but to see what he's done, I think a really nice testament to the Georgia developmental system.
For 100%. Sure. That's what's separating them from everybody else right now. Regardless of what Smith does, someone brought up on our board today the two plays that will never leave their mind over the last couple seasons. Chris Smith had both his hands in that Clemson pick 6 and the field goal return against LSU. And I pointed out too, when you go back and watch that fluky bounce off the helmet, Smile London interception, Chris Smith is the guy who laid the lumber on that hit. So he was developed well, and he made some huge, huge plays for Georgia in his career.